A coming-of-age story unlike anything you've ever seen before is playing at Planet Ant's Black Box Theater, and today we're talking with Katie Della Mora and Mo Thomas from this production. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, Brian.
Of course, absolutely. I have to say that when I was researching this show, this is one of the most wild shows I've probably ever heard of, but it's so cool that you're able to bring it and to share with people. So, Katie, I'm kind of hoping that maybe you can tell us what But They're Shrimp is about.
Of course. So initially, I had this idea when I just wanted to see shrimp dance the ballet and be ballerinas. And it
Sure.
grew into something bigger. It turned into a story of belonging and finding your place in this world and wanting to be seen, no matter where you are. And so their main character, who Mo plays excellently, is Pip. And she has to make a choice when she turns 30 this year. And this is a choice that every local freshwater shrimp has to make. They either marry and mate, where they become an entree in an eternal shrimp buffet. And those are the only two options at 30, because this is an old-fashioned binary shrimp world. It's not the newfangled shrimp world. And Pip's best friend and her, they kind of want to achieve their dreams together, but then they get in a little spat and they reconcile, but they both sort out what feels like an authentic path for both of their shrimpy futures. And yeah, by the end, we see Pip realize a different version of her dream.
Mo, that is quite the decision that Pip has to make here.
It is. It is. I felt the weight of it from the first read through. I felt the weight of what is this little shrimp going to do from that very first rehearsal when we got our scripts. It's been a wild adventure, and it is not at all what I expected when I showed up to the audition, but I'm so glad that I'm here and we're doing this together with the entire class. Everybody's been wonderful.
What was it, Mo, that drew you to that first audition? Like, what was it about this story that really spoke to
Oh,
you?
well, it's new. It hasn't been done for obviously. Katie wrote it, and it was still in workshops. It wasn't something where you could like go find the script and maybe browse it and I don't know, practice with friends. There was none of that. I literally found it, the audition posting, like the week it was happening, and I was like, oh, this is at Planet At. Oh, there's a shrimp who's smoking a cigarette. This seems fun and funny and completely ironic. And then I read the synopsis of it and I was like, there's no way. I was like, are we doing actual shrimp or is it just we're pretending to be shrimp? I was more intrigued just to know more. I was like, even if the audition doesn't turn out to be anything, I just want to be in the room where it happens when there are people on stage pretending to be a shrimp and showgirls and whatever that turns out to be. I just loved the energy of it, the entire thing.
Katie, so you kind of mentioned where this idea came from, but what was your developmental process or your writing process for this show?
It stemmed from writing a list of shrimp jokes at the very first beginning. So pages and pages of different kinds of jokes and like things that we could play on. And then from there, I originally wanted this to be a musical. And so I settled with a play. And so I started writing the songs for what I wanted to appear and doing demos and sending them to some of my friends and being like, what do you think about this? And it was a very collaborative process with some of my old sketch comedy friends in LA and New York. And so we would have phone calls where they would pitch ideas, I would pitch ideas. And then we worked with one of our coaches, Michael Dupree, on the Planet Ant One Act Farm team. And he kind of coached me through getting like a really nice, crisp log line and through a lot of these beats and developing the outline for this. So after the outline was ironed out, I just went ham on writing and overwrote it. And then I had to take it back, kill my darlings a little bit, and made it a little more tighter and a little shorter because I could have probably written about 300 more pages about shrimp.
But I feel like sometimes that's where the best stuff comes from. You just write it all, you get it all out there, and then you're like, okay, let's take it back a little bit, let's rework you some of that. But having to have the whole flow thoughts out there and just done in that way, it works.
Yeah.
We've been pitching spinoffs and sequels the entire rehearsal process. All these, well, what happens next? Does she find someone? What if she has her own? There's so many things that happen. It's like, this show leaves you guess wanting to know what happens to all of these characters after the moment the curtain closes, so to speak. So we've just been having fun imagining what these lives look like of shrimp in a lake.
Truthfully.
So what I'm hearing is that Mo really wants more shows. Katie, you got to write them.
Yes, and I
More
want
shrimp.
Mo to star in all of them, or if it becomes a children's book, I want Mo to do like the readings as well.
Do it. I'm here for it.
So Mo, who is Pip to you throughout the story?
Oh, that's a very deep question, Brian. Pip is me. She's a little bit of me, Katie, all of us. When I go into the show and I'm on the stage, I'm not thinking of Pip as a shrimp. Like, I know she's a shrimp, but I'm thinking of Pip as a being. She is a little piece of all of us who has ever wanted to be anything. Like when I was growing up, I wanted to be, I don't know, a geologist. I'm not a geologist today, dreams not actualized, and that's okay. But there was a point in life where it was like, there's this thing I really wanted to do. I wanted to be like, I don't know, Indiana Jones or whoever else and get out there and start digging things up. But Pip sort of relates back to that child in all of us who is like, okay, there comes a moment where you get to decide who you want to be. And it's not a matter of what people are telling you, but what it lives inside of you. And how do you pursue that? Do you go on the beaten path and what you're being guided towards, or what you could become? And if there's a choice to be made, if there's a chance for adventure, do you take it? And so Pip is just the realization of all the things you dream about. And though the road might not look like you expect it to, because it rarely does, how do you overcome, push through, and still remain sort of true to yourself? So Pip is she's just a girl in a world trying to make her dreams come true.
I love the energy that you're talking about Pip, because I think that's, it's you're a shrimp, on stage. And so to be able to be like, this is also somebody, like, this is a creature that has parts of me in it. I mean, that shows the humanity that's also in the story. I think that is really important.
Oh yeah, it has so much heart. I mean, there are lots of shrimp puns and we do like weird shrimpy arms, but it isn't so it isn't it's less of a joke and more of a way to express heart through this really fun, campy experience of living life on the lake as a shrimp. So it is a joke, but it's not a joke. And I don't know how to describe it any better than
Yeah.
that.
So Katie, when you're kind of, you write the script and you were kind of reworking it, you're trying to make it for the stage. Are there parts of it that just in your head it worked, but on stage it maybe didn't translate that well, and you had to make changes to the script in that way?
Yeah, of course. We always have to like kill our darlings. And there were things that technically with our micro budget and also just our resources we couldn't accomplish. I would have loved to have Pip fly like Peter Pan across the audience. So definitely had to cut that. There was also just like a longer shrimp ballet that I kind of wanted this to turn into a full musical and turn it into a second act. So we ended up cutting a little bit more of the dances, but honestly, I got to keep a lot of the stuff that I wanted in this concept. I think if it was to be bigger with a larger budget, then I would probably have even more budget for like costumes and like dancing and stuff like that. But honestly, I'm lucky that I got to keep a lot of the original stuff that I wanted conceptually. And I had a great team of designers that we worked with that made my dreams basically come true visually. And we knew that it was going to be in a small, intimate theater, but it actually worked out. And it was really about making the audience use their playfulness and their imagination to come into my brain, into like what I always imagined.
And so when you're kind of developing this character, you mentioned all of these great qualities, but like, how do you find Pip? Like, obviously I know there's a script and stuff like that and you're working off the script, but like, how do you find that character?
I think that's the difference between it being sort of like a character and a caricature of like a shrimp. Like you can be silly on stage and play a shrimp and we have little shrimpy moments, but it always, at least for me, when it comes to character work, comes back to the heart of why any character exists in the first place. And that's just a place of honesty and how I might read it. So when I'm trying to develop it, try to find what do I relate to this in the story about this character, about this person, about their journey, and how do I want to portray that to the audience? Like, what is the message that we're trying to send them home with at the end of the day? So it wasn't hard actually at all. Like from that very first moment, we all kind of locked in after the reading. We were like, oh, okay, this is what we're here for. Definitely got it locked and loaded. There were many conversations when we were developing character work, scene work, and all of this with Katie and myself and the other cast members about here's what our goals are and here are what we are trying to achieve through the scene so that the end result now is not just this cute, leafy, little fun, jokey show about a shrimp, and more so this very heartfelt moment of like how you go on this journey in life. So it wasn't as difficult as it sounds, and I feel like it's something you just gotta experience. You gotta be there to see it and feel it and laugh and maybe possibly even cry with us. There was somebody crying at our last
Aw.
show, so I will take it.
I mean, it has to feel good while you're on stage to see those kind of emotional reactions.
Oh,
Or,
yeah.
or Katie, as the author of this, as the playwright, to see those reactions from people and to experience that they're also emotionally connecting with the story.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
didn't expect that, and when we were rehearsing it, we did so many bits together, and we did have some really soulful moments when the cast was rehearsing the scenes, but the places that really resonated with people and where we were hearing sniffing on opening night, I think it took the cast and the crew all by surprise. That but then we remembered, of course, this is a human story for first, and it's really resonating with folks, so we kind of had
Yeah.
to hold for tears instead of hold for laughter in one of the scenes, and that was unexpected but really beautiful
Yeah.
and what I love about theater.
So while this is definitely, Mo, it sounds like you kind of slipped into this role naturally, very naturally and stuff. Has
I was
has
making sure.
you're like I've been destined for this role my entire life. um, but is there challenges, or did the show
Yeah.
challenge you in any way, in as an actor, or like to push you to grow in a certain way in your craft?
Oh, it really the hard-hitting questions there, Brian. Yeah. I
Sorry.
think no, I mean, that's true. It's a great question. And I think that with any project, what I'm looking for is growth. If I step into a stage and it just feels like a bland normal of like, oh, I can do this in my sleep, then that means I'm probably not enjoying it as much. So there were definitely challenges along the way. There were physical challenges and sort of mental challenges, I will say, because while I could relate to Pip, I am not that's not my natural personality. Like she's a little meeker, milder, quieter, less assertive kind of girl, and that's not in my typical nature to take a step back and let other people make decisions on my behalf. So it is I think in the beginning in rehearsals that was harder for me to be around these other voices in the room that were it's very much the first part of the show is people are telling you what to do. They are commanding you. There was lots of like let me guide you and sort of nudge you along the way. And what should have been kind helpfulness is mostly just overbearing, which you get a lot of in life. And just having to receive that, which is actually probably the hardest part for me because
Mm.
I am like a resist the force kind of girl. Because until you explain it to me, it doesn't make sense. And no, I will not be doing it. But for Pip, it required me to take a step back, take a back seat, and just really listen to what the other characters were saying and receiving that and sort of processing it in a way that goes against my natural function and urge, but understanding that this was a part of the arc of her story and that if I couldn't suffer with her, I couldn't grow with her, so to speak. So that was a bit of a challenge. And then just physically, I don't know if you've ever put on a shrimp costume and danced, but that's happening. And it sounds like fun, but we've got these entire shrimp heads. I got my
Sure.
therapy heels on, got my showgirl outfits and all these things, and it's all these parts and pieces. So it was also physically a challenge to be like, how do we move our bodies as shrimp and still maintain character and still give a good show for people while in the back of your mind you're like, I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
I can see why that would be a challenge, you know? But you're killing it. You're crushing it as
Yes.
Pip on stage. So,
I hope so.
Katie, how about for you? How do you feel like this show really challenged you in your role?
Oh my gosh, this really stretched me as a director. I've written a couple plays before, Fast and Furious, the musical, and another play called Oh, What a Summer. But this was very personal, so this stretched me in being a lot more vulnerable in front of my cast, my crew, and really opening myself up to any thoughts or judgment that folks had. So that was like the initial stretch is
Mhm.
basically being seen by other people instead of hiding it away. It was kind of obvious that there were some autobiographical parts about it. But yeah, then also just coordinating with such a large community of collaborators, a costume designer, choreographer, set designer, set assistant, lights and sound, and our producer and our marketer. And so this is a very large team making this happen and leading the efforts definitely stretched me as far as I could go. And
Sure.
I'm so happy and grateful for the experience. And I think I learned so much about like reflecting calm and patience and then keeping a excited attitude the entire time and making sure people feel heard throughout it. So yeah, I think it really stretched me and I want to direct a lot more.
I mean, that's awesome. And that and again, you get to work with so much talent. There is so much talent. You know, I just was talking with somebody else from
So
Planet
much.
Ant. There's so much talent in the area, and to get to work with that in every aspect to bring your vision to life that's so cool, and that's so awesome to be able to be a part of that.
Yes, this cast and this crew, I literally could not have asked for a more talented group of people, and it was really cool because everyone's artistry shone through even better than what I imagined.
And so, one final question for both of you, then, and Mo, I'll just start with you. It's just what are you hoping audiences take away from this production, But They're Shrimp?
Oh, uh, I hope they take away something that they have learned about themselves. As much as Pip is a shrimp in a lake just trying to be a girl in a world on a stage, uh, I think that they take a moment to take back and reflect that there are always moments and choices in life where it's like, if you've been dreaming, whatever you might be dreaming of, whether it's a job or a car you've been, whatever it might be, that you never ever get to a point in age in life where you discount those dreams and you stop trying to actualize them. And that if you have the opportunity, if you can create the opportunity to ever do it, then don't let the no stop you. Don't let the disappointment stop you. Don't let the friends you might lose along the way stop you. Do it anyway, because it's going to be more than worth it in the end.
That's such a beautiful answer. And Katie, how about for you? What are you hoping the audiences take away from this production of But They're Shrimp?
Laughter is the best medicine, especially right now. And also just like remembering that if you find yourself living someone else's dream, that you can take a step back and reevaluate sometimes. And it's okay to take that first step to achieving your own dream, even if at first no one is behind you and you're doing it alone. That what you might find at the end might be something bigger and greater, more happy than you ever imagined. And so, like, there's always a gray area, and it's okay to live in that gray area and then laugh a lot and be dumb along the way.
Mwah. Yep.
Because if you can't laugh along the way, what's the point, right?
What's the
Yeah.
point?
Thank you so much, Katie and Mo, for being here. It's been such a pleasure. And again, we're so excited for this show. And we hope people turn out to see it because it has a great message. And we just want people to celebrate this art and this wonderful story. So thank you again for both being here.
Thank you. It's been great.
Thank you, Brian.
But Their Shrimp runs at Planet Ant through April 25th. So get your tickets now and we'll see you there.